Metallica's Black Album has now spent 750 weeks on Billboard 200 chart.
Can I just say that that's the toughest Kirk Hammett has ever looked?
Yeah, probably. I could see that.
Lars too, I think.
Look at Jason. He's kind of like.
I mean, Jason, poor bastard. He's like
fine, Mom.
He had that look when he left the band, though, too. So
his face looks like
fine,
Mom.
It kind of reminds me of and this is kind of a generational thing. Was Superman 2 when they're in the prison? Remember when they're in the prison and they're floating around, and it's like that's kind of what they look like. Do you remember that? Do you remember Superman 2?
It's been a while since I've seen it.
But they're all the three people are in that they're in like that prison. They're floating through space or whatever, and that's kind of what they look like.
To me, it looks like his face is saying, "Fine, Mom, I'll clean my room if I want a treat or something." It's like,
yeah.
I can't play my bass until I clean my room.
And Jetsam, Mom.
Yeah. Like, Jason, eat your green beans.
Yeah.
Like, fine, I'll eat my green beans. But can I go play my bass after?
There's no pudding until you eat your meat.
Metallica's self-titled album, commonly known as the Black Album, has now spent 750 total weeks on the Billboard 200 chart. It is the fourth album in history to reach the milestone after Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon, Bob Marley's Legend, and Journey's Greatest Hits. That's a great club to be a part of right there.
Yeah, it is.
Those are some pretty massive albums. Back in September 2021, Metallica re-entered the Billboard 200 chart. At position number 9, it marked the first time in 29 years the LP had cracked the top 10, following the set's 30th anniversary reissue on September 10th, 2021. The Black Album is one of the most commercially successful and critically acclaimed records of all time. Its 1991 release not only gave Metallica its first number one album in no fewer than 10 countries, including a 4-week run at number one in the US. Its unrelenting series of singles, Enter Sandman, The Unforgiven, Nothing Else Matters, Wherever I May Roam, and Sad But True, fueled the band's rise to stadium headlining, radio and MTV dominating household name status. The album's reception from the press was similarly charged, building over the years from the top 10 of the 1991 Village Voice Jazz and Pop. I think that meant to say Jazz and Pop, not Paz and Jop.
Yeah.
National Critics poll to becoming a constant presence in the likes of Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Albums of All Time. The album's impact and relevance continue to grow, as proven by one indisputable fact. The Black Album remains unchallenged as the best-selling album in the history of Nielsen's SoundScan, outselling every release in every genre over the past 33 years. To commemorate its 30th anniversary in 2021, the Grammy-winning 16 times platinum certified Black Album received its definitive re-release via the band's own Blackened Recordings. I think that is really cool because that means they're getting all the money from it.
Yeah,
because they re-released it through their own label. So good on Metallica, and they deserve it. Don't you think?
Yes.
What else do you guys have to say about that?
So I think it's really cool that because I mean you think of like for me I think of Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon as like a transitional album into that genre. And although I don't think the Black Album is like my favorite Metallica album, it's a very transitional album into that genre. And so I feel like if that gets people into metal, then I'm like, fuck yeah, do it.
Yeah,
because that's what this world needs is we need that transitional stuff. And you know, Enter Sandman is the farthest thing from what I would consider a great song, but it's a good transitional song for people to get into Metallica and get into metal.
That's my story.
Is it?
It was Enter Sandman. That was the first Metallica song I've heard.
How can you say it's not a great song? You said it's the furthest thing from a great song. Really?
I mean,
it's overplayed.
I don't think it's the best song.
It's a good song. I will say that. I take back what I said. It's a great song. And I love the video. I mean, the video is what I always remember. Like that person like running and
the old guy.
No. The
kid
for Enter Sandman and that person running, that semi truck hitting that bed.
It's a kid.
Bam, exploding that bed.
It's the kid in his pajamas.
Yeah, and they were in their pajamas. That was badass.
Dude, yeah. I mean, I was already into metal when that came out, but like it dominated MTV, so I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, like there's so many other badass Metallica songs like Creeping Death and stuff like that, but if this transitions people and says to them, hey, dabble into this, then I'm all for it.
So yeah, I was at a middle school something, and I remember they played Enter Sandman, and I asked my friend, I'm like, what is this music? And he told me, well, he's like, oh, this is Metallica. And then he came back like a few days later and gave me the cassette for Ride the Lightning. So
really,
yeah, so like Enter Sandman is, I think, overplayed, but it's very dear to me because that's what helped get me into like real metal.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was my intro to Metallica. It was the same AC/DC, Thunderstruck too. You know, I heard that song and I'm like, this is awesome. So,
and you know, I guess that's funny because for me, like my moment for me was seeing Def Leppard on American Bandstand, you know, and like, you know, so like we all have those moments that get us into it, you know what I mean? And that's cool that was your moment.
Yeah.
With Metallica, for me, I remember so clear. I had this friend who was like a little bit edgier than me, and he was into Metallica, and he would play it for me, and I was like, I don't like this. I like Bon Jovi and Def Leppard, you know, when I was like 10. And then
he slapped you like that Batman meme.
No. I wish he would have. He probably should have. But it wasn't until I heard One. One was the album that the song that I was like, okay, this is cool. And then, you know, of course, once Enter Sandman and all that stuff hit, then I was like completely sold. But yeah, I was a pussy little, you know, hairband kid before Metallica, you know.